You're watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by these fine sponsors.
Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler's TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, Outdoors Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovated, St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, Back House at the Square, JSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Company, Larry's Pizzeria, DFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.
Hello, welcome to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Joining me each and every week is local official Mark Cisco and Rough Rider alumni. And Mark, we got some clips from the big victory of St. Mary's over Van Wert on Friday night. Thanks for joining me.
Zach, it's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Mark, not only are you here today for the Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, but you're going to be joining me in the box tonight. So when this airs, it's going to be Friday night, St. Mary's versus Shawnee, and you're going to be in the box doing color commentary. What do you think about that?
It'll be my video debut.
All right,
Zach. So we'll see.
You didn't. You told me before we started today. I didn't realize you had done some color commentary with Big Ralph.
Big Ralph. Yep, Big Ralph Guarneri. That's been a few years ago now. Yeah. Enjoyed it immensely. Saw a lot of good football and a lot of good riders.
I'm sure it'll be like riding a bike. So.
Well, I hope so. Let's hope I don't bring the ratings down too bad.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Mark, before we get started, you were at the game on Friday night versus Van Wert, and you wanted to point out, I guess, some things about some of the defensive penalties and then the play clock.
Well, I had a question. There was a question, viewer question, if you will, about and the question seemed to come from somebody who had some inkling of what was going on. In the first half, anyway, normally a couple years ago they changed the rule where when we have a defensive foul or a defensive injury, the play clock is to be set at 40 seconds. Normally it's after an administrative stoppage for a foul administration or an injury, it was set at 25. Well, a year or so ago they changed that for now the play clock should have been set at 40 seconds, and that didn't happen several times in the first half. I can't recall it not being a problem in the second. I'm not sure there was defensive fouls in the second half.
Yeah,
that
it
would
didn't
cause
seem like
problems.
there was as many in the second half.
Right. So that's really not a problem unless you're an offense and you want to, use time. Maybe you're trying to use time off the clock before you snap it. And as it was in the second half, had that been an issue in the second half, when Van Wert has the ball with a minute to go, if we administer the timing rules properly, maybe that minute's not there. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Right?
Yeah.
So that stood out to me. There was some mechanic things with the crew that caught my attention. Probably no one else in the stands would know, but being a former on-field official, I caught it right away.
Well, we'll have to see this week, with you being in the box with me, if you can point out any of that in real time, and then we'll be able to point that out.
We'll see. We'll see. Some crews are truthfully better than others at that sort of thing. I mean, I thought this crew did a decent job judgment-wise and dealing with the game, but mechanically, there were some things that probably could have been improved.
And anything else going on, like as far as bulletins or anything like that? Emphases or
there was a couple plays come out last week about some defensive players, and basically the gist of it is that those types of plays will stand out. Will jump out most of the time. A lot of times you got just a good football play. Sometimes you're going to have those plays, and everybody in the stadium, including officials, will know what it is.
Okay.
And I know maybe we can talk about this later, maybe not. There was a play at Tenora last week where the game ended funky, so to speak. So if we get a chance, maybe we talk about that at the end of the show.
Let's we'll try to bring that clip up and talk about that one as well. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at some of the clips from the game against Van Wert and maybe one Tenora game.
There you go.
We'll be back right after this.
You're watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by these fine sponsors.
Grand Lake Roofing, Fowler's TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, Outdoors Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
You were renovated, St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, Back House at the Square, JSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Roots Pub, Dr. Mike Company, Larry's Pizzeria, DFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Mark, I wanted to talk about that Wayne Trace Tenora clip. We decided we're not going to show it because it's not our clip, so we don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
But if anybody wants to see it, they can search Wayne Trace and Tenora on Twitter or X, and they're able to see on there the clip and
the play.
And the play. So what was the clip about?
Well, it deals with the rule at the end of the game. Basically, the team that was down was throwing a deep pass with basically no time left.
Basically kind of a Hail Mary.
Yeah, it kind of was. 7 or 8 seconds left when the play started, and the clock, the quarterback does a nice job. He throws it into the end zone. Nobody there except the defender. One of the defenders catches the football and kind of goes towards the back of the end zone, but apparently never steps on the end line, so the ball is still in play. So all the defender has to do is just fall down, and we've got a touchback.
And then the game probably.
And then the game's over. So instead, apparently there's no whistle, so the ball's still live, and the defender comes up and very nicely hands it to one of the offensive players who's downfield by this time, thinking, okay, the game's over, give his football back, and we all go home. Well, the offensive guy is smart enough to take the ball and takes 2 steps into the end zone. So if we don't have a dead ball, we have a live ball, and now we've got a touchdown.
Yeah.
There was no signals by the official, and you can't hear a whistle on the broadcast, and the players don't act like there was a whistle. So you've got confusion. The officials get together and decide it was a touchback or I blew it dead or wherever. So the team that thought they had scored did not overall. But the issue comes in is if we've got a live ball and the whistle is blown, which would have been inadvertently, we would have had a situation there.
Yeah.
So you have an inadvertent whistle, although the outcome would have been the same because the team that had the football was the defense. So at the time the whistle blown, they would have a choice. Number one, either replay the down, which they're not going to do, and give the offense another shot at it,
right,
or take the ball where it was when the whistle was blown. In this case, it's in the end zone.
Still a touchback.
And it's still a touchback. So the confusion was the officials did nothing. The back judge just is kind of looking around going, I don't really know what to do here, or he didn't do what he was supposed to, and that's what created the confusion. If he'd have just blown the whistle or signaled something, game over, and everybody goes home.
So they really should have treated it like
live ball.
Hey, live ball's still around.
Live ball, and let it play out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the broadcasters are telling the player to go down, and they were right this time.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. So
that's
confusion reigns.
Tough play.
It's high school football sometimes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So everybody will have to check that clip out. And there you heard Mark's
strange things happen. Yep.
We're going to jump into the clips from the Van Wert and St. Mary's game then. This first one, early in the game, Van Wert threw a quick pass, and it went for a touchdown, but it was called back on holding right there at the bottom of your screen.
Right there at the corner, yeah. That was about where I was actually sitting, truthfully, and it happened right out here. And, yeah, he's got him. And, you know, the officials are going to allow a little bit of a grab, but you got to let him go. Once the offensive guy is beat, you have to let him go, and that's not what happened here. So it's a good call on the officials' part.
Yeah, huge potential play. Here's the end zone view of it. Just another way to see 2 right there, and you can kind of see that pull of the jersey that way.
And the official was right there, dropped the flag as he ran by because he's got responsibilities downfield. Good call on the official's part.
And it was interesting. You could see it a lot better from that end zone view than the other one. This was early in the game, the first interception thrown by Van Wert, and I just was wondering, was he potentially down when he threw that ball?
You know, that's a very good point there. I mean, he was going down.
Yeah.
Technically he's not down. If the referee would have ruled forward progress there, I mean, he's hit, he's going down.
It's really bang, but I thought he stayed.
I think he was
got
still
it away.
up.
It's still up.
Referee's right there. I mean, he's looking at these guys coming in. Is the shin down? Is the leg down there? Does he still have the football?
Because shin would count as down, right?
Shin was counted as down, but the referee from his angle, he's not seeing that, and that's quite honestly is a tough call to make.
Yeah.
Shin, it's easier if the elbow's down because you can see the elbow hit, but is he down? The arm's coming forward, possibly here, and
it's so close.
Live action from where I was sitting, 50 yards away, I thought it was a good no call.
Yeah.
But somebody else down there with a ruler might say, well, no, that's not the case. But fortunate for St. Mary's, it stood, and away they went.
Well, I think if Van Wert completes that pass, they want the benefit of the doubt that he wasn't down. And
absolutely.
I think if it's bang bang like that, you let the ball
play
stay
go.
alive.
You let the play
let
go.
It
Yep.
This was not a touchdown, but I thought the spot was very odd on this one. So hand off to the running back. I guess I was wondering, it looked like he fell into the end zone, but they marked him down just short of the goal line.
Just short. Now maybe the official has a good look at the football right there. He apparently does. I'd like to see him a little bit, come charging in there a little bit harder to sell the call, truthfully. Mm-hmm. And he's standing right there. He did a nice job getting to the pylon one of the times that he did get there, and he's looking right at it. And he's really the only one that can really see that. So. You're 6 inches short, 2 inches short. He thought so, and maybe the ball is not out front of the runner. We really don't know.
Let's see. An end zone view right here too. It's so close.
So when he went to reach over, the official thought, no, he's short. So we're going to put him really really short. So,
right, did he go down or did he land on the?
Well, that's another thing. Is he down? And you got all that stuff to look at right there, and in relation to the ball and the goal line. So he put him down short, and they snap again. So
really close play, but I think they ended up scoring the next play anyway.
If we're going to look at it multiple times in slow motion and we can't decide, then the play stands.
Good.
Right?
Yep. This was just a simple false start from Van Wert.
Pretty much.
I threw it in there because I didn't know how many clips we were going to have, and then now we got 13.
That was a pretty good one right there. That was an easy one to get. The ball never moved, so yeah.
Yeah. This one was interesting. I didn't see it live. I didn't see face mask. I take the word for it that the ref's right there looking in there.
He's looking right at that. I'm not well if we can see that or not. I mean,
I couldn't find any good angle rewatching it, and I didn't see his head jerk. They only called it a 5-yard, which was, I thought, telling.
Well, if you're right, Zach. That he did call that a 5-yard there. So, did the hand actually stay on the face mask, or was it just a brush across? If it was a brush across, you've got nothing.
Okay.
If it stayed there and there wasn't a grab or a twist, then I could see that. So, the running back's coming right at him and sees something. I don't see it from this angle, but maybe he did.
Yeah. And we'll have another one later that I thought was really interesting, and I'm pointed it out. This one right here, though, clip number 6 was holding on Van Wert. I think it was number 65 right there on the end.
Probably right there on the corner.
Yeah, on the corner. Yep. Again, I think it was maybe the same wide receiver from the first holding call up there. I think maybe number 2 just grabs the guy at the top of the screen.
And he's not letting him go.
Yep.
Yeah, he has a hold of him, and the running back goes by, and the defender can't make any move whatsoever. If he's got his hands out and is not holding on to him, then the defender slides down. Yeah, probably a good call right there. The official's right there looking at it.
I thought the flag was maybe a little late, which kind of was confusing because he doesn't throw it till then.
Yeah, well, that's a good point because he throws it.
And he throws it way back.
And if the foul happened later, the play's already over. So did the defense really be disadvantaged because of it if it's so late? So I'm thinking it's right here on the corner, and if it was, the foul should have been back. But let's just see where if we have that play.
Yeah, let's rewatch that last one.
Yeah, let's see it one more time if we can.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about because it looked like maybe early, initially kind of right. There you see him grab, but then
I don't know. I mean, if it's on the corner, I'd buy that better than downfield, truthfully.
Yeah.
And of course, if it's beyond the line of scrimmage, now you've got issues on where you're marking the ball. They did mark it off properly, if I recall right, because it's beyond the line of scrimmage. So I'll give them kudos for that. But where it happened, it's hard for us to tell.
I do. Yeah, they did mark it off properly because I remember seeing an odd number of penalty yardage, and that's where it came from. So. We'll go on to or watch it one more time here. Just a little hold there at the end. Yes. All right. This next clip then was a backwards pass from Van Wert.
Okay.
So just wanted to remind everybody that is a live ball, and
it is a live ball.
Could have been kind of disastrous for Van Wert.
Well, it could have been. You take your life in your own hands when you do something like that with a backward pass, because if that ball now, if he throws it backwards and the receiver misses it and it goes out of bounds, all right, Van Wert's still going to get the ball where the ball went out of bounds. The clock will stop and everything else. Now, from an officiating point of view, I'm looking at the head linesman up there by the down box, and what they're supposed to do is when they see it's thrown backwards, he's supposed to punch back with that left arm. Now, it looks pretty clear to me that it's backwards. He doesn't do anything. He comes back, but that's a help to the crew that, hey, I've got this thing back, so if it falls incomplete, don't whistle it dead.
So
he does nothing, or he may have not known for sure, but it looked like to me that was a pretty easy call.
So that's a mechanics.
That's a little bit of mechanics for you all out there that you don't see or think about often.
Yeah, and from a statistical standpoint, that counts as rushing yards.
Okay.
Plus or minus.
I always wondered that. Good deal. All right.
So whenever a backyard pass is not receiving, it's a rush. So.
Okay.
Face mask on St. Mary's. This is the one that I really had a question about, Mark. They called face mask on this, and it looked to me like he just grabs the helmet. I didn't see him put his hands inside the helmet.
Okay, let's talk about that.
I saw him just grab the top of it, and I thought that we have talked before, like he has to have the hands inside the helmet.
Correct. You are correct. If the hands never gets into a helmet opening, okay, and that could be the back of the helmet, the side of the helmet, underneath the ear hole, things of that nature, or on the helmet itself. It's just on the helmet. That's not a foul.
Now he did rip the helmet off, though. Is that
so? Maybe he did have a hold of it underneath there, and
I think he just pulled it from the top. So I think he just kind of grabbed the top of the helmet.
Maybe just scraped it off.
Yeah,
very possible. Very possible, and we don't see a flag until the very end when the helmet's off. So, did he actually get the fingers underneath an opening and pull it off? It's hard to tell.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell.
Hard to tell on this angle. I thought on our Rider Nation station broadcast we were able to get a little bit closer, and I didn't see any inside the helmet view. So that's just.
Again, sometimes you can get fooled.
Yeah.
You know, one set of eyes sees the head go, and you're like, well, that's got to be because there's no other way to get it off. Well,
right.
That's not true. So,
right.
Who knows for sure?
This one was a false start nod from. It wasn't called. Maybe we have it here in a second. I think St. Mary's jumped, and then I think Van Wert had a little bit of a. Nope, there's no penalty.
Now the St. Mary's kids are Bob's right there. Now the guard moved over there. The right guard, I think, right after St. Mary's moved, just a little bit.
That's what I was looking at. He leans forward.
People think that they have to be dead still, but you can move slowly to adjust your position. As long as you don't pick the hand up or do anything quick like that, that's normally not going to be a problem. And the referee's back there looking at that because he's the only one that can really see it. He's like, I'm not judging that to be a thing.
Did it make a difference that it was they weren't set? The rest of the team wasn't set.
Well, not really, because they can move around a lot as long as they don't shift the feet real fast. In contrast to one of the St. Mary's tackles against OG, who would bring the arm up, left arm up. And now, one time he did it was fairly slow. The next time he brought it up quick. That's enough to tell the officials he's simulating the snap.
Okay.
Right. So that probably wasn't. He thought, no, we're not simulating the snap there. We're going to let that go. So.
This was just a ball that was kicked out of bounds.
Okay.
I just want to talk about the rules still.
Sure.
They can ask to have this re-kicked, or they take it at the 35-yard line?
Depends on where it goes out, yes.
Okay.
And I believe it is kicked deeper than the 35. The rule is basically 25 yards in advance of where the ball is kicked from.
Okay.
Now, if it goes out on the opposite 40, obviously you're going to take it there, plus a 5-yard penalty to go with it. So they try to worked those sidelines all night, and this one finally got out.
Right.
The official, I thought, was a little late with the flag because we're way short of the 35. But it got down. So the choices are come back and re-kick with a 5-yard penalty, take it at the 25 yards in advance of where they kicked it, which is normally the 35 if you're kicking it deeper. Or if it goes out prior to the 35, let's say it goes out at the 38, you could take it there plus 5 yards and go from there. Now, the thing of it is you have to put it on the hash mark closest to the sideline where it goes out.
Okay.
Once in a while, you'll see officials bring it back into the middle of the field, which is wrong.
Okay.
So, Yeah, so it goes out right about, I don't know, the 20 possibly, so they're probably, I think,
they took it at the 35. Yep.
And away you go. Yep.
All right. A little bit of mechanics there that I didn't realize, so.
Yeah, it's a lot of people wouldn't catch that.
This next call was a holding call against St. Mary's. Thought it was pretty obvious right here. The guy kind of gets twisted around, and 58.
Yeah, right there in the middle. The umpire is looking at that.
It's one thing for him to go inside, okay, and then you just twist him around.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah, so that's good. Unfortunately, it happened to St. Mary's at a bad time right there. I mean, when mistakes can kill drives, but it's a good call.
And the next play then was a potential late hit that was not called.
Okay.
I think, the quarterback run here on the left side and goes out of bounds, and then there's just an extra throw there.
Yeah, there might have been a little bit of extra there. Then you got to judge as an official whether it's just part of the tackle, whether it's extra, whether they know where they are, which is no excuse for the defense. They need to know they're charged with knowing where they are on the field.
How soon the whistle was, maybe?
If the quarterback goes down there, that might draw a flag.
That's what I was wondering. The quarterback kept his feet there.
Balance, so was it really an unnecessary type situation? And that may have played into the decision not to flag something like that. I can probably tell you that if he goes down, there's probably going to be a flag.
Okay.
Yep.
Van Wert certainly wanted a flag, I think, but I guess they should have figured that out. And then this was you and I talked about this, but this was blocked or kicked into the back of his team, and that ball, when it lands, doesn't look like it goes back to the line of scrimmage.
It looks like they're snapping at about the 17 or something like that. So it goes up, partially blocked maybe, bounces at the 15, and then it comes forward. So it is a kick that's crossed the line of scrimmage. That ball bounces backwards, or it doesn't get past the 17. Yes, the offensive team, the kicking team, could pick it up and run with it.
So if one of their linemen would have been heads up and could have caught that on the 15, they could have ran with it.
Correct. They could have ran with it. Yes, you don't run into any fair catch rules, behind the line of scrimmage. So if he had just looked up and caught it, he could have gone with it. So we talked to Coach Fry about that a little bit earlier, and he mentioned that. He said, could they have picked it up? Yes. So they're going to talk about getting their team squared away, not to leave those punts until we know it's downfield.
But once it's gone past the line of scrimmage, then it's okay.
And stays back there. Yes,
because it can still come back.
It could bounce. Let's say they were snapped at the 15. It bounces at the 18.
Yep.
And the kids are like, okay, but if it comes back, now we're behind the line of scrimmage. It's free ball.
Yeah.
It's all about where the ball is when it's touched or recovered.
Wow.
Yeah. College is different, but high school, it can come in college. If it goes beyond and comes back, then the kicking team cannot pick it up and go with it.
It's dead once it crosses, no matter what.
Pretty much, if it comes back, they have to get away from it because they're not going to keep the ball.
Just little wrinkles between high school and college.
There's only 200 differences between the college game and the high school game. So
we think of them as being so similar, but
they're getting closer, but they're not there yet.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for joining me again, Mark. We're gonna hopefully have a good week of winning clips against Shawnee, and we'll be back next week with more Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. Thanks everybody.
Thank you for watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco, brought to you by all of these fine sponsors.
Grand Lake Roofing, Ballard TV, Family Audiology Associates, American Legion Post 323, Varsity Lanes, Outdoors Equipment Rental, Spring Street Storage, Mr. Bank, Plus One Professionals, Albert Sporting Goods.
If you were renovating, St. Mary's Foundry, Larry Shop Auto Sales, That House at the Square, TSC, Cody Plumbing and Heating, Ruth Pub, Dr. Mike Compton, Glen Pizzeria, VFW Post 9289, and Miller Funeral Home.